Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So today I'll be talking about what narcissistic parents are not, or what don't they have. So obviously I talked about narcissism, so I'm just going to go over some things again. And this not covers everything about narcissism, but narcissistic people may be unable to handle criticism. They need a lot of validation, attention. Emotionally are they unavailable. Tendency to be jealous of others, very vindictive and spiteful. Can be very immature. They cannot handle emotions in a healthy way. They may suffer some form of addiction. Can be explosive when angry. Can be passive aggressive. They can be manipulative and devious. Extremely self-centered, self-absorbed. Play games in relationships, so they can play mind games. Never ever admit that they're wrong. Tendency to play the victim and put the blame on everybody else. And they also love drama. They can be hypocritical. They're extremely critical of others, like to criticize people quite a lot, put them down. Only do things for themselves, that they're very selfish, or they feel others are obliged to do things for them. They are very controlling. They are mean-spirited when they don't get their way. They use sarcasm and jokes as a way to indirectly insult you. I just wanted to tell you a few things. Now, as we talked about narcissistic parents, obviously they would have these tendencies, is they have good intention and they try to do their best in their parenting. And even though some children may feel that my parents are narcissistic, but if they have the intention to do good, and if obviously have all these things I spoke about just now, then that's a different issue. But mostly if parents are good and they really care about you and they have good intention, but somewhere you felt that they let you down emotionally because look, parents are also human beings. They're going through different things in their life. Perhaps when you were born, they had financial issues, or they had issues with family, and perhaps they couldn't give you the attention that you needed. But that wasn't something that was deliberate. Everything is a deliberation. They will do things deliberately to hurt you and to harm you. Obviously, be the parent that you want or need. Parents that aren't narcissistic, they'll have good intention, they'll do their best. And the main thing is that for most children, I feel, is if your parents have a good relationship with each other, this is such an important thing. And that proves that they're not narcissistic, because if your parents are narcissistic, they'll always be fighting, they'll always be arguing. I'm not saying all people who fight and argue have narcissistic tendencies, but I really want to clarify 3 or 4 things here. Number one, parents who really love their children, put them first, have good intention, but yes, somewhere down there you felt emotionally they weren't available, or something happened, you have to make excuses, because really they wanted to do their best for you, and they loved you, and they cared about you, and they gave you priority. Yeah, they failed in other areas, but that doesn't mean that those parents are now narcissistic, or those parents, you can label them, because their intention was good, and nobody knows what intentions are. Only Allah knows what our intention is. Mostly, if that's what they did, they tried to do the best that they could, but they made certain mistakes, and no parent is perfect. But if you love your child, you give them priority, you give them a good life, you worry about their tarbiyah, and you try to do the best, and okay, in some areas you failed them, but mainly your intention was good. You never wanted to hurt your child. Parents who are narcissistic, they will deliberately hurt their child, or they will not have their best interest at heart, intentions for their children. I don't want people to just start labeling their parents and saying, oh, because my parent is narcissistic, I don't have nothing to do with them, I can cut ties with them. No, that is absolutely incorrect. You have to be very, very clear that they are deliberately trying to hurt you or abuse you or oppress you in any way. But if parents made mistakes, because they're human beings, but really in the day they really cared about you, they loved you, they put you first, they spent on you, took you on holidays, did everything they could do, but yet in some areas you felt they were lacking, that don't label those parents. Yeah, you're very fortunate to have parents like that who care for you and loved you. And again, when we do things about parenting, a lot of people say, oh, but parents are like this and parents are like that. But sometimes we have to understand, okay, what did you put your parents through? Perhaps, some things you did, some things how you acted. But, later in life, you have to think, parents, if they cared for you, loved you, did whatever they could, then you have to appreciate that. The other thing, I think if you have parents that you never saw arguing, or you didn't have a conflict in the house every single day, you are the most fortunate people, or you have the fortunate childhood, because most times, as being a therapist, the reasons why people have problems, it goes back to their childhood. As I've mentioned many, many times, I've written a whole book about it, is the first thing they see is their parents having conflict from a very, very young age. So I hope this is clear, what narcissistic parents are not, and not to label parents just because it suits you, but to understand and go back and, okay, what did my parents do? Yes, they did love me, they did try to do the best that they can, and okay, they failed in certain areas, but alhamdulillah, they cared about me, and That is the most important thing. So hopefully see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.